LC family, and what a long time it has been. Denver, do you want to say hello to everyone?
Hello.
Ask them, how's everyone been doing, man? It's been far too long. Well, we're glad that we have this opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you and to do the message for today. But today is a really cool message because today, Denver, do you know what we're speaking about?
Courage.
We are speaking about courage. Now, we know that courage is something that we have to build up to. It's not like one day we choose to stand on the highest top of the building only to know that we can jump off straight away. There's a lot of practice we need to do. There might be some equipment we need to grab in order to do the jump well. Like Denver loves to jump between these pillows here at seminary. But can I be honest with you? In the beginning, Denver, you were very scared of doing it, hey? But the more he's practiced, and the biggest thing is he was not afraid to jump because he was able to see his dad do it first. And because his dad did it first...
He didn't do that.
Oh, did he not do that?
Oh, yes, he did.
He did.
When you wasn't here, when me and...
Yes. Another word for courage is being brave. Courage means you can stand up to fear and face it. Think about all the nurses and the doctors right now who are having to work in the hospitals during this time of COVID. They're probably still very afraid of the virus. It's scary and unpredictable. There's even a chance that they can get infected. Yet they have to do their job. They have to take courage to face their fear and do what needs to be done. It's the same with us being a child of God. When we are afraid of doing something, we have to be brave and courageous too. But there is good news. Just as doctors and nurses have equipment to keep themselves safe, we don't have to deal with our own fear by ourselves. God will help us to have the courage we need to face our fears. The equipment we use is the Bible, that is full with stories about how we are courageous. Today in our video for C2C, we are going to be looking at the story of Paul from the Bible, and hopefully we'll be able to see how he lived a courageous life. So may you be blessed in watching the video about Paul, and may his life encourage each one of us to take courage in the fact that we have Christ alongside us to do amazing things for him and with him. All the blessings to each one of you. We miss you all and look forward to seeing you one day. But be blessed today, and may you be encouraged by the life of Paul. Denver, do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Goodbye.
God's story. Paul. So part of God's story is about a man named Paul, and it begins like this. Paul was born in a city called Tarsus. Back then, being born in Tarsus was about as cool as being born in an amusement park. So Paul thought he was cooler than other people, especially the ones who were following Jesus. Paul turned into a real bully. He found ways to get people who were following Jesus thrown in jail, beat up, and even killed. One day, Jesus yelled from the sky, "Paul, Paul, why are you acting this way?" Then Jesus shined a really bright light, brighter than the sun, right into Paul's eyes. Paul couldn't see anything for 3 days. Kids, never look straight at the sun. Remember what happened to Paul. After Paul could see again, he decided to listen to God. And not just listen. Paul decided to spend his whole life telling people about God and God's son Jesus. Paul knew if he was going to tell people about God, he better get to know God. Paul found different ways to get to know God. Sometimes he fasted, which is when you skip a meal or many meals, and spend time praying to God instead. Other times, he snuck off alone so he could sit and listen to God. Paul said getting to know God was like training to run a big race. Sometimes training for a race takes work, especially if you want to win. Just like it can sometimes take hard work to fast or sit quietly and listen to God. But for Paul, knowing God was way better than winning first place, even if the prize is $1 billion. Once Paul knew God, he was so excited that he wanted to tell everyone, even people he didn't know. Paul became a missionary. A missionary is a person who goes to new places and tells people about Jesus. And even while he was doing this, Paul was writing lots and lots of letters telling other people about Jesus. Now sometimes, Paul found out that not everybody wanted to hear about God, but he told them about God anyway, just to make sure everybody had a chance to hear. Have you ever tried talking to somebody when they weren't listening to you? The people started getting really mad at Paul when he talked. They threw rocks at him, beat him up, put him in jail, and even tried to get rid of him completely. Guess what Paul did? He said he'd be happy to go to jail, get beat up, and even die if it means more people know about Jesus. Well, God was with Paul when he was getting beat up and put in jail. One night, God even sent an earthquake to open the doors of the jail so Paul could be free. But instead of escaping, Paul stayed to tell the prison guard about Jesus. Later on, Paul was sent to a bigger city with a bigger jail. To get there, he had to take a boat. During hurricane season, one of the storms hit Paul's boat and it got shipwrecked.
Sorry.
So he had to swim all the way to a nearby island. Picture swimming in the North Pole with penguins. That's how cold Paul was. But as soon as he saw there were people living on the island, what do you think he did? Yep, he taught them about Jesus. Paul never stopped telling people about Jesus and how Jesus loves everyone and wants to help them stop doing wrong things and teach them how to know him. He got put in jail at least 4 times, was shipwrecked 3 times, and was even bitten by a poisonous snake. But Paul didn't care what happened. He was so happy knowing God that he just wanted everybody else to know God too. And that's the story of Paul. So in case you missed it, here's the quick version. Paul was a bully who didn't follow God. God blinded him for 3 days. Then Paul believed in God, and he spent time getting to know God. He decided to tell everyone about Jesus. He was willing to have rocks thrown at him, go to jail, get beat up, get shipwrecked, or even die as long as he could tell people about God. And that's a part of God's story.